gaming.
What do you
Alright.
think about that, Alex?
Yeah, what y'all
knowing that
think?
you're a Final Fantasy fan?
The Final Fantasy Origins thing looked cool. It's Team Ninja, so that and Koei Tecmo, so it's going to be more on the more action side of things. The remasters for the Pixel remasters. So from what that tells me, especially because they specifically said Steam and iOS, they are not the current ports that are on Steam and iOS for those 6.
I think Guardians, that's probably the one that stuck out to me this presentation, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I don't really play a lot of Square stuff except for Final Fantasy and
I
Marvel
would say
games.
definitely out of the things for me, it was definitely the 2 remakes, obviously the Final Fantasy stuff and the Legend of Mana looked good. Guardians, Babylon's Fall, because the last time we saw it was like 2018 and it was just a CG trailer.
Yeah.
So the fact that we got anything at all for that game, because I thought it went into the void.
That's more than we got for Starfield. For the other Square stuff, what else they show?
Well, Life is Strange, I've never played.
Life is Strange. Yeah, I never played that either.
Oh, the entirety of like the gameplay. Well, I haven't played it myself, but like I've seen the entire game, so like
yeah,
there's that.
I didn't really pay attention to the Black Panther DLC for Avengers because I just don't pay attention to the Avengers game.
I heard the DLCs actually for the game, at least somewhat story wise, is decent. At least for the Hawkeye DLC.
The Hawkeye,
because it brought in characters that you wouldn't have expected to ever see.
Well, if the Black Panther DLC is just you just play as Black Panther and it's like a story in Wakanda, I'm totally down for that. That's cool. But if it's like a live service thing and they like integrate it into like the PvE stuff, I don't know.
I think it might.
I would love it if it was a story thing.
Yeah.
That's something that's never really been like touched on in the game.
The only other thing that would have interested me, but it was already announced, shown off last month during the 14 Fan Fest, was the full trailer for 14.
Oh.
For Endwalker.
Yeah, I just want to mention for when this is going up on this part's going up on YouTube, for the Guardians game, I think it looks better than Avengers. But I think it might like some of Square's stuff like has a tendency to be a little linear, but the fact that there's a dynamic story going on with the Guardians, I think that's its saving grace.
Linear, especially a post for Final Fantasy 13 world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I mean linear, it's like
linear. Yeah.
It's like because the enemies have health bars, you're relegated to Peter Quill. I don't know. I hope there's replayability, so you don't just have to keep doing health bar, boss battle, combat sequence,
and
basic
it's not
platforming,
like
basic combat.
It's also not like it's the Final Fantasy. Say some of the older Final Fantasy teams, which definitely would do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or throw in this high level area. You didn't have to go there yet. Okay, but you could go do this now. You're gonna get your butt handed to you.
Yes, that's the kind of freedom I'd like from that. I hope it's not like you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. But that being said, I like the fact that it's relegated to Peter Quill because that makes for a more focused story and a more focused experience.
Specifically Peter Quill and decision based. So
yes,
because of the decisions, I'm going to assume there's going to be multiple routes.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then the characters also react dynamically to how they interact with each other. That's neat too.
So yeah,
I just hope that they won't be like repeating voice lines over and over like every time you go into battle.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I hope they don't actually talk that much.
Battle. It looks also like it's live combat in that, so it's not going to be. I mean, I say this. Hi, Shulk. How are you? Shulk and every Xenoblade character. How are you with your battle?
I hope they don't tie voice lines to moves. I don't want to have to hear freaking
No.
the equivalent of sliding slinger the whole time from Xenoblade X.
Well,
Like let's be real. If anime
at
was
least-
like real life, for example, if anime was real life, for example, then you know, like when characters like shout their moves and when they use them, that's what it'll be like.
Yeah.
with the remasters for for the first 6 Final Fantasies, because let's be honest, more people would probably want the pixel art versus what happened to 7, which is the evolution of those 3D models.
I mean, but why wouldn't they want it?
For me, I love the style of the pixel backgrounds. Already, it already has so much character. It doesn't really matter.
But it would just be
You're
the
just
same
gonna make
thing.
it a lot more brown. It maybe, because you also would have to make sure everything fits on that 3D plane.
Oh yeah. No, I'm saying like,
And
if you're gonna
fill out
remaster,
things.
why not make it a remaster like with the new assets they have? Like if it's just like pixel art, wouldn't it end up being
Well-
like the same thing as the old one?
Well, it could. There is also some, say, because I've been watching a number of reviews on some of the Final Fantasies. 3 never actually had an updated pixel, sprite-based pixel art, remaster. It was only the DS 3D remake. And they specifically are calling that one and the 4 remake 3D remakes. So they might still do more of that line in the future, while this will be a more pixelated one.
There's plenty. I mean, there's plenty of. If you run out of stuff to do in that one, you still got the new one to look forward to. Technically, not 16 at all, but what was it called? It was called Origins or something.
Well, it is part of the Final Fantasy Origins like storyline. It said like something of Paradise.
Oh,
which,
Lost Paradise, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, not Lost Paradise, something similar to that. But from how it is going on, I think it is a prequel to probably 1, specifically the 1 storyline. Because obviously they name dropped the Warriors of Light, which technically it wasn't actually a name till Final Fantasy 3. Knowing that by Final Fantasy 1 nothing has changed and it's still slowly getting worse, this could be a mission doomed to fail. Which could be, with however they play it off, may actually be really interesting.
So you're expecting something with like some kind of bittersweet ending to it.
Yeah.
Like how Age of Calamity
very
should have
much
ended.
so. Well, Age of Calamity, I think if depending on what you did, was going to end in the original
Also,
cutscene.
Age of Calamity is technically like a separate like universe, like a separate
Yeah,
separated
it's-
timeline.
Oh yeah, but
It's
it was sold as a prequel.
It's its own thing.
I mean, the stuff here was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
There's some interesting stuff, especially for people who consistently play Square Enix stuff like Alex. Even people who don't, like me and Tia, still some pretty cool stuff. So thanks to anyone who stopped by.
Yeah.
This discussion, the post discussion is actually going up on YouTube, so stay tuned for that. And we'll we're not going to be covering the PC Gaming Show and Future Games Show because I don't think we have time for that. But
Yeah,
we will
and like I
discuss it.
said, I don't want to stream
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah, and we will cover it in the podcast tomorrow. So we'll
Yep.
catch you all later.